We're back in Hong Kong for round 12. It's Revo on pole from Daniel Bogdasarov and Milrez. And it's Sebastian Ocampo, his teammate Gav Sanchez, and Lawless Leclerc. The second hyperdrive of Arnett Babner starts 7th, and Not Huey and Santino Milan. Sebastian Tan starts 10th from August Dragazzoni, and then it's Akari, reigning World Drivers' Champion, in 12th. T. Gabo is 13th from Michael Nokovov and Marcus Nelson. Yuki Sua starts 16th, then it's David Camino, Leo, and P. Sierra down in 19th. New Cable starts 20th, iWorld is 21st, and then it's Tommy in 22nd. Alright then. The home race for Anok Huey and Tommy, with 3 lights currently on. Can Revo extend his championship lead? All 5 lights go on. And the Hong Kong E3 is green. And despite starting on the hard tires, that's actually a pretty good start from Revo, showing his experience out there. Milrez, however, putting a pretty good fight towards Daniel Bogdasarov. Revo holding on to the inside line and not being challenged by the 2 cars behind him. It's Revo from Bogdasarov and a car and Sebastian Ocampo. Milrez now side by side with the season 14 champion. He's got the inside line. Can he go for the lunge for P2? He's gonna lunge. He's gonna hit his former teammate, and Ocampo gets himself up into 3rd, but now with a 5-second time penalty. Was it worth it? I don't know. We've got 5 drivers starting on the hard compound tires, the most we've seen for quite a while. So the hards definitely seem to be a very popular choice of tyre. There goes Ocampo to P2 and into the wall and out of the race. Go Sebastian Ocampo. Ocampo out. And he's been making dangerous moves all lap long. Camino 5 seconds. There's a massive blockage there with Bogdasarov being the figurehead of that. He's got front wing damage and it's going to have to pit. Camino also in the thick of it. He's got a bit of damage there as well. Akari found his way from 12th to 6th on the opening lap. An unusually good start for hard tyre runners we've seen today. But out in front, Revo leads the way 1.3 seconds ahead of Milrez, and then it's Anok Huey at his home race. In his return to the Formula E Monopoly Championship, Mahindra got a 3-4 here currently. Anok Huey currently in 3rd. This is brilliant for him. P. Sierra 5 seconds for causing a collision in that pinch point there. He's got quite a bit of damage as well. Bogdasarov coming into the pits. Camino, another time penalty for causing a collision. That's 2 seconds in 1 lap. Unlucky for him. And for the duo of drivers who once drove together at DS Andretti, they're now out of the race, and 21st. Bogdasarov comes out of the pits 27 seconds off of the race lead. But Revo, he's doing an absolutely fantastic job out there in that hyperdrive number 7. And considering how the hard tire strategy is basically go as long as you need to maintain track position, and once everyone else has made their first stops, and then you come in for your first stop when everyone else has made their second. This is looking really good for Revo, who on lap 2 has almost broken 2 seconds from Milrez, who is closing, but only marginally. It's not enough to get past him on the next lap. Bogdasarov having a rapid second sector after coming out of the pits due to his damage. We go on board with Santino Milan trying to defend from fast charging cars behind him. Milrez now Sebastian Tan fastest laps coming all the way through, and a virtual safety car out of the race. That is Leo for Aurelio Pinnacle, and that is his front left medium tire hitting the wall, forced into the barriers there. And that was probably caused by the other version, so Virgin Racing causing a multitude of collisions. VSC ending, bad 2. And we're on lap 3. Milrez is now closing up to the back of Revo. It's 1.01 seconds, the gap between the two. Well, I think Milrez could get him. Look at that. He's really hammering home in the mini sectors that we can see. He's really close to the back of Revo now. Coming in through these turns then. And down the long straight here in Hong Kong. He's got attack mode. He's going to be closing in rapidly. Akari with a track limits warning. Revo's going to have to defend this as much as he can. Milrez, 69% tire wear, and he's not going to be able to send it down the inside just yet. He's going to get so many more chances, so I'm pretty sure he knew it wasn't now or never. Sanchez really defending very well. Milrez has dropped 2 seconds from Revo now. Tommy 5 seconds time, but also had his home race, and you can see why it is so close between everyone here. Into the pits comes UK Ball. First man to come into the pits willingly, because for Bogdasarov it wasn't a choice, it was a forced decision. And the medium tires going on. So let's see. Medium's going on. Very good stop. He's going to come out of the pits in last position, even behind Bogdasarov. Tommy setting up fastest first sector of anyone in that next EV Formula E car. Next EV Formula E returning to the championship this season, and they've made a pretty good return to the championship. It wasn't awful. It was actually pretty good so far. He's on the back. He's on the back of Santino Milan. And further up the field, that is Ionet Bamnes pulling to the inside to try and get past the other next EV Formula E car of Michael Nokovov, and maybe even Daf Sanchez. What a dive from Ionet Bamnes into the wall, however, due to that has gone Michael Nokovov. He's lost his front wing. Bastian Tan comes into the pits. Akari, earlier on, we missed the overtake, but he found his way ahead of Daf Sanchez, and the hard tires are actually looking not too bad. In fact, the performance we're seeing come out of those hard tires are the performance of mediums last year. They are running really well. They are not really anywhere near the cliff. 5 laps they've done. Soft tires are definitely going to fall off that cliff if they haven't already. And there are at least another 5 laps in those hard tires. I'd expect Revo to come into the pits in 3 laps time, and just to be safe, and not Huey at his home race, however. He wants to try and get past the Swedish number 6 in front of him. But to do that, he's going to need to close in a lot more than he already is. Nokovov 5 seconds for causing a collision with August Regazzoni, who has just come out of the pits. They've both come out of the pits recently, and they are fighting hard over 15th position. And they're side by side coming through these turns as they approach the final sector of the track. As Akari alongside Lala Leclerc at the braking point, late braking for both drivers, and Akari to P4. This man has been on a mission. He started in 12th position, and he's going to be second once this lap ends, because the 2 cars ahead of him are coming to the pits. David Camino is out of the E-Prix. That's not Camino out. That is Yuki Suo out of the E-Prix. Airborne went Suo with here, and Camino got another time penalty there. He comes into the pits. Leclerc to P2 though. So he was able to overtake the Aurelio Pinnacle car. Aurelio Pinnacle got a slight livery redesign. And Daf Sanchez! Sanchez also out! That is the DS Andretti, and neither MS Amlin Andretti car will finish today. Oh dear. They've been struggling to try and get some upgrades, but now with the repairs that they're going to have to make the next time out, because that seems to have been an electrical failure as he came into the pits to retire the car. Another yellow in the 3rd sector. Wonder who that's for. That is likely, yes, that is the Leclerc and Akari. Leclerc's lost part of his front wing. This is going to be an easy move for the number 10 car. The number 10 who won here on this track last season. And he's not even close enough to make the pass on Leclerc. That makes sense if you ask me, because he's got a lot less drag as the Mercedes driver, but he's also got a lot less grip going through those turns. He's going to have to come into the pits pretty soon. Half race distance then. Revo still leads the way from Akari and Santino Milan, who now dives into pit lane. Milan into the pits. So now Milrez to P3. And Arcury's fastest 3rd sector. He's currently 4th, and I do believe he can see the back of that Sportsline car. But the question is, can he make the overtake? 13 seconds is the gap between Revo and Mealrise. And just going on board with Revo, if we can take a look at his tyre wear, 54%. It's not looking too great. It's looking a little grim, if you ask me, but I think he should still be able to make it. Iron Fabulous carving through the field. He's made his way up into 6th position, and he's right on the back of P. Sierra, another driver who started very far down the order, but has found his way up into the top 5. But he's going to be pushed out of it. If Fabulous can make the dive, he does dive. Sierra falls very deep and gets hit by Vachi Chantan, so loses 2 positions in 1 turn. 2 overtakes made by those drivers in Tan and Babinus, as they have well and truly disposed of the Spanish 77. Revo still staying out there to start lap 8. Taking a look at the timing tower. And Akari is under threat. He's been passed. Akari passed by Mealrise. Hinokui having the fastest lap at his home race. 118.766. As now he chases down Akari. P. Sierra comes into the pits for his first stop. And I do believe it will be his only stop, as here comes Hinokui past Akari for the hard tire runners currently. If they were to come into the pits on lap 9, they wouldn't have to come into the pits again. They should be able to make the one stop work. There is always the possibility of them not making it work because of how long the pit straight is here, but we don't know until the checkered flag falls. So Revo coming through the final sector then. Least amount of turns in a sector we've got here. As yet, Inokui has gone past Akari. He has overtaken him. But how are those soft tires looking? Not too great. Not too great for Mealrise or Inokui. I envision that the top 4 should come into the pits at the end of this lap. And if that does happen, then the hard tire strategy has worked for Hyperdrive. Let's see. Into the pits comes Revo. Mealrise coming down the same straight as the most experienced driver, staying out there. Inokui also staying out. Akari likely to come into the pits. Soft tires going on to Revo's car. Akari coming into the pit lane. So Revo's going to have to drive as much as he can for the next 5 laps to make sure he can even get a podium, because his teammate is up into 3rd. Vashi Chantan 4th. Where is Revo? He's coming out of the pits, and he's going to be 7th at best. Yeah, that's 7th for Revo. And now David Camno's run on the back of him. However, Revo, freshest tires of anyone in the top 10. That is the benefit he's gotten out of this. He's got very fresh tires. iWorld, very anonymous throughout this entire race, but he's collided with who seems to be Marcus Nelson. And if not him, then Akari. Either way, he's got a 5-second time penalty. Nelson getting passed by Sierra as well. For this App Sports Line driver, it's not been a very good day or even season for him. But we can now look to the front of the pack. As here comes Revo down the inside of Lawless Chiclerc, sending it down. Does he get attack mode coming down the straight? Yes, he does. That's attack mode for Revo. Chiclerc's got none of that. So, of course, Revo blasting off ahead as Tommy had his home race up into 4th position. He does have that 5-second time penalty to worry about. As into the pits come the top 2 all into pit lane, top 3 into the pits. So Tommy will lead his home race from Vashi Chantan and Revo, as here comes Revo to deny these 2 of their race leading positions, as Akari 5 seconds for causing a collision. He's hit the wall and lost his front wing. That was 3 into 1, we believe, and that was never going to work. UK ball comes into the pits as well. Akari has to come in. He only made a 1 lap on those softs. So now Revo's gone into the lead very late. He died before Tommy if he was to try and take the lead with that move. But now with the outside line, can he do the switchback? He's going to do the switchback. Tommy to the race lead at home. Brilliant stuff from the Next TV Neo driver, but he doesn't have the tires to make it to the end currently. So down the inside again goes Revo. 5-second time penalty for the championship leader for colliding with the Next TV Neo car. And it's been a very unclean fight for the lead. Vashi Chantan now with a net race lead. But here comes Ravo to try and get past Tommy currently. He's been a little bit of a thorn in his side in recent races. He sends it down the inside, and Ravo retakes the lead of the E-Prix. And I don't know how hard Tommy was willing to fight for that lead, but I really hope he wasn't willing to fight any harder than that. He's still staying out there. Leclerc diving into the pits. Vashi Chantan coming into the pits. On board with Ravo. I do believe he should be able to make it to the end of the E-Prix. David Camno coming in. So Milrez is currently in third. Has he been jumped? No, he hasn't been jumped by Tommy because he still has to make a second stop. He's probably going to make a second stop. If not, he's going to wreck. But for Ravo right now, he's really focusing on that gap between him and Milrez because he's probably aware that Tommy's on a different strategy to him. He's probably aware that Tommy's going to have to pit again. So for Milrez, he's got to try and get into that 5-second gap. He's 10 seconds off the back, so he's going to need to pump in some unbelievably quick laps. But for the number 6, it's him versus the 7 again. Except not on track in timing. Further back, that is David Camno getting done by Michael Mokovov. Camno 5 seconds 3 times. That's 15 seconds worth of time penalty. But he's still out there fighting as hard as he can. He's really hustling that one GP car around the track to stay ahead of Michael Mokovov, and that's exactly what he does. Vashi Chantan, another track limits warning. Reminder, 4 of those is a 5-second time penalty. As into the pits finally comes Tommy. We've got 2 laps to go until the checkered flag falls here. And, Ravo's definitely going to be struggling come race's end. And virtual safety car! T-Gabo out of the E-Prix. Oh dear. That Virgin is out of the race. Don't see where that car is. Oh dear. P. Sierra coming into the pits then. Alongside iWorld for their second stops. Very low on tire percentage for iWorld. 24%. Still did around the track. I'm currently taking a look at some of these drivers' tire percentages. Very wide from Marcus Nelson there. He's not under too much pressure. But Ravo, he's struggling on his tires for whatever reason. That hyperdrive car not really taking too much care of those soft tires. Probably took a lot of life out of them in the early stages of this race. So now Milrez, he should be able to pounce. He should be able to try and get past Ravo. I think Ravo might want to come into the pits at the end of this lap. It could help him. However, if he does that, he's going to have to succumb to the fact that he's got that 5-second time penalty as he leads. But I think it's safer than trying to do 2 more laps. So yes, Ravo into the pits. Ravo has come in. He's got that 5-second time penalty, which will only be added to the end of the race time. So Milrez will start the penultimate lap of the E-Prix from a not QE. And Iron Famine is fighting really hard with Tommy. Hustler is what they should call the Hong Kong number 45 car. So Ravo's going to come out of the pits. He's going to be 5th because Leclerc is only now coming down the main straight. That 5th place is not secure. He would dearly like to build himself up the order. Considering how the top 3 have got quite a bit worse tires than Ravo does. And Tommy is literally the only man who can stop him. And currently, I think for Ravo, it's all about trying to build himself up the order. Marcus Nelson, fastest lap of the E-Prix. We see now Tommy fighting with Babinus UK ball. 5-second time penalty for colliding with Michael Mokovov. I've been done for how to pronounce that name. As here comes Tommy down the inside on Iron Babinus, ahead of Iron Babinus. Goes to number 45 car at his home event as an RQE at his home event too. He's really struggling out there when it comes to tire wear and grip. So Milrez coming through that turn. An RQE, you're close to follow him. Tommy is 3rd, Babinus 4th, and then it's Ravo in 5th. 7 seconds off the race leader who starts his final lap of the E-Prix. This top 5 should be how we finish, as long as they don't make too many other mistakes. And not Huey, he could win his first home race. is I do believe it would be one of his first race wins. I don't recall him winning a race at all in this championship. I won't call it as his first race win if he does manage to get past Milrez. Although that's mainly because Milrez is pulling ahead. 3.5 seconds, that's the gap. Ravo is currently looking to drop to 6th position with that 5-second time penalty. So not a good day for that hyperdrive number 7. But Milrez then, coming through these turns, he's really trying to get himself down to the line as safely as possible. No carnage, nothing too serious. Tommy, that's Ravo ahead of his teammate. The two hyperdrives not fighting over 4th, thankfully. But Tommy, he's going to try and get a lunge on his more experienced countryman, his fellow Hong Kong driver. But for Milrez, the only Swede in the championship, he's going to come home and win the Hong Kong E-Prix. And not QE is just going to take 2nd from Tommy, who sets a new fastest lap. Ravo is 4th on the road with the fastest lap. Then it's Ironet Bamanis, Mr. Clark, Vachichantan, August Regazzoni. David Camino will come home 9th on the road. Then it's P. Sierra, his teammate Santino Milan, Michael Novikov, Daniel Bogdasov, Ukable, Akari, iWorld, and Marcus Nelson. Provisionally. That is one way to have a race here in Hong Kong. So this is the podium then. Milrez takes the win for at Sportsline from Anokui and Ironet Bamanis. Then it's Tommy, Ravo, Lawless Leclerc, Vachichantan, and August Regazzoni. Then it's Santino Milan, P. Sierra, Michael Mokovov, Ukable, Marcus Nelson, David Camino, Akari, and iWorld. Your finishers. Your non-finishers were T. Gabo, Bas Sanchez, Yuki Siro, Leo, and Sebastian Ocarfo. In the driver's standings, Ravo leads away on 159 points. That's 60 points ahead of Milrez, really dominating this championship. Then it's David Camino, Tommy, Daniel Bogdasov, August Regazzoni, Lawless Leclerc, Santino Milan, Sebastian Ocampo, and Ukable, currently the drivers who will make their way into the playoffs. The rest of the order is as this: Yuki Suo, Akari, Marcus Nelson, Ironet Bamanis, and Michael Mokovov, and Leo. And it's Anok Huey, Das Sanchez, Pete Guerra, iWorld, T. Gabo, and Vachichantan. In the constructors' standings, heading into the next round of the championship, Hyperdrive Racing leads away on 199 points. Then it's App Sportsline on 147. Braun GP Honda is on 144 points, and Toyota Gazoo is 122. Next EV Formula E is 1 point behind Toyota Gazoo. Then it's Nissan Nismo on 96 points, 1 point ahead of MS Amlin Andretti, who are a further 5 points ahead of Aurelio Pinnacle, who are also a further 5 points ahead of Mercedes Formula E team. Virgin Renault is 10th, and then it's Mahindra in 11th on 43 points. We'll see you guys next time then when the Formula E Monopoly Championship returns.